You are a soul with fractures, a body that aches for touch, a mind that screams in silence, longing for someone to say, "I see you, stay." They won't put this in the news feed. They won't say it in public health campaigns because it's not sexy. It doesn't trend. It doesn't sell, but it should terrify you because it's already happening, not in some distant country, not in a lab, but inside you. Loneliness is killing more people than obesity, more than alcoholism, more than the very air we breathe. This isn't some metaphor for a broken heart. This is the slow breakdown of the human organism, starved of the very thing it was built to need. You can be surrounded by thousands of faces and still die of loneliness. And the worst part, you'll be told it's your fault, that you just need to love yourself, that needing someone else is weakness. But needing others isn't weakness. It's biology. It's evolution. You were never meant to do this alone. You're not supposed to talk about it, not in a world obsessed with self-reliance. Not when the culture shouts, "Be independent, be strong, be your own everything." But here's the truth that breaks through the noise. Loneliness is killing us. Not metaphorically, not poetically, literally, medically, statistically. Chronic loneliness increases your risk of death by 26%, more than obesity, more than alcoholism, more than air pollution. And yet we keep building lives that isolate us. We work remotely, we scroll endlessly, we replace voices with text bubbles, and we call this freedom. But this isn't freedom. This is solitary confinement with a Wi-Fi password. And here's the terrifying part. We built this prison ourselves, brick by digital brick. We've been programmed to believe that autonomy is salvation, that to need another is to fail, that strength means silence. But silence is exactly what's killing us. When did needing someone become a sin? What makes this epidemic so dangerous isn't just the biology, it's the denial. We've built a society that punishes need, that mocks vulnerability, that turns longing into pathology, an entire generation told to fix themselves before ever daring to reach out. But the truth, you don't fix loneliness by being stronger. You fix loneliness by being seen. In the words of philosopher Martin Buber, all real living is meeting. Without the presence of another, there is no I, only a ghost moving through simulations. We've confused isolation for independence, but the human organism was never designed to be alone. You are a social creature. You are relational by design. You don't just want connection, you require it. Connection isn't a luxury, it's oxygen, and right now the world is suffocating. So let me ask you, when was the last time someone truly saw you? Not your highlight reel, not your filtered smile, but the trembling truth beneath your chest. And when was the last time you saw someone else? Because in this modern maze of algorithms and avatars, we've lost the art of witness. And without witness, the soul shrinks. Without connection, the spirit cracks. Not all wounds bleed on the outside. This isn't about being social. This isn't about having followers. This is about something deeper. Something existential. As Viktor Frankl once wrote, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. That's what we've done. We've replaced communion with consumption, replaced belonging with branding, replaced meaning with metrics. But the soul is not fooled. Even when the feed is full, you can still be starving. So where does the revolt begin? Right here, right now. With the courage to name the hunger, to break the silence, to admit that strength without connection is just another form of collapse. This isn't weakness. This is the beginning of healing. We are not dying from loneliness because we are broken. We are dying because we believe the lie that we could survive without each other. What if the real strength isn't standing alone, but standing with? Let that question haunt you, because it just might save your life. The myth of the self-made, when strength becomes a prison. They told you to be strong, to be unbreakable, to forge your path alone, to climb the cold, silent mountain of success and plant your flag at the top. But no one told you what happens when you get there, and no one is waiting. You're alone, exhausted, applauded maybe, but untouched. This is the myth of the self-made individual. a narrative whispered into every ear since childhood. You are all you need. Don't depend on anyone. Need nothing, want nothing, show no cracks. But look deeper. Beneath that glimmering image of strength is something hollow. This isn't power. It's abandonment, dressed as ambition. Because in this myth, connection is replaced by competition. Community becomes liability, and needing others is stamped as failure. It tells you to measure your worth by your output, your job title, your balance sheet, your follower count. But none of these things, not one, can hold you when you fall apart at 2 a.m. Let that sink in. What good is building an empire if there's no one left to share the throne? The paradox of modern ambition is this. The more you chase individual success, the more likely you are to end up alone. And the irony? You never truly wanted the titles. You never truly craved the status. You wanted to be seen. You wanted to be understood. You wanted to sit with someone who doesn't shrink from your sorrow, who doesn't reach for a solution, but just sits in the silence with you. Unflinching, present, human. In the philosophy of Emmanuel Levinas, he shattered the illusion of the isolated I. He said the self is not complete on its own. It is born through encounter. It is formed when it meets the face of the other. The moment someone sees you, truly sees you, you exist more fully. And without that encounter, you are just a shadow performing strength for a world that's too distracted to care. So what is real strength? Maybe it's not about standing tall. Maybe it's about kneeling beside someone who's crumbling. Maybe it's not about needing no one, but about daring to need someone, to say, I can't do this alone. That kind of honesty, in a world obsessed with masks, is a revolution. So ask yourself, how much of your independence is just fear with a better wardrobe? How many of your victories were silently followed by, why does this still feel empty? And more terrifying, how many moments of true connection did you reject because needing felt like failure? The world doesn't need more legends of lone wolves. It needs more humans, vulnerable, soft-spoken, courageous enough to say, I need you. Because the real prison isn't weakness. The real prison is pretending you're strong when your soul is starving, and the only way out is through someone else's eyes. The existential cure, choosing connection in a disconnected age. Here's the hard truth. The system doesn't care if you're lonely. It cares if you're productive. It wants your output, not your wholeness. It praises your grind, rewards your silence, and monetizes your isolation. But you are not a machine. You are not a username, not a profile, not a performance, not a curated fiction. You are a soul with fractures, a body that aches for touch. A mind that screams in silence, longing for someone to say, I see you, stay. And the cure? It isn't in another scroll. It isn't in the dopamine drip of likes. It isn't in numbing routines or endless self-optimization. It is not in the mirrors of self-help books that chant, love yourself first, as if that were the finish line rather than the starting wound. No, the cure is risk. The terrifying human holy risk of saying, I need you. Not because you're weak, but because you're real, because you were born for more than performance, because meaning is not a solo act. Philosopher Martin Buber called this the I-thou relationship, where the other is not a thing to consume, a body to swipe past, a tool to fulfill a need, but a sacred presence to encounter. In I-thou, you meet someone not with defense, but with reverence, not to fix, not to impress, but to witness, to hold space, to say with your being, you are not alone. That's the rebellion in a disconnected age. To choose connection, to knock on a neighbor's door, to sit quietly with someone in their storm, to ask a real question and wait uncomfortably for the real answer. You will not find your full self in isolation. You will not discover your purpose in a vacuum. You will find it mirrored in another's eyes. You will find it in the shared silence after the pain, in the laugh that breaks through after a long cry, in the hand held too tightly because neither wants to let go. That's where the soul breathes again. That's where life begins to mean something. So let's name this for what it is. Loneliness isn't just a health crisis, it's a philosophical crisis. When we forget how to be together, we forget what it means to be human. You don't have to be another casualty of disconnection. You don't have to wait until it breaks you. Reach out. Call someone. Tell the truth. Be brave enough to say, "Stay with me." That's how we heal. That's how we return. If this message hit something deep inside you, good. That's the part of you still alive, still reaching, still human. Now do something with it. Share this video with someone you miss. Send it to someone you've been scared to call. Then drop a comment below and type, "I choose connection." Let the world know you're not ashamed to need, to feel, to be. Because in a world trying to keep us separate, your vulnerability is your rebellion and your connection is your cure.